Infinite Film and Television World, The Legend of Shuttling Through Light and Shadow. Chapter 1 enters infinity. Resource recovery, free trading, click, play for a year, and travel without spending a penny. The line of bright red words on the computer screen beat like flames, reflected in Shen Mohan's eyes. He was lying on the desk coding words, his fingers typing lines of stories on the keyboard, and his heart was already exhausted. This sudden advertisement not only stimulated his curiosity, but also seemed to be some kind of invitation. Without thinking, he clicked on the X pop-up box. The next second, the surrounding scenery changed violently, the computer screen turned into a mirror, his eyes penetrated the light curtain, and the whole world began to rotate and distort until he felt as if he had turned into a light and was sucked into a huge screen. When he opened his eyes again, he was already in front of an antique scenery of rivers and lakes. You are? An old man wearing a raincoat and a straw hat asked in surprise. Shen Mohan looked down at his palm, and sure enough, there were a few more calluses between his knuckles. Wearing a worn-out hanfu, and an antique longbow pinned to his waist, he knew that he had become Guojing in the Legend of the Condor Heroes. Did I cross over? How is this possible? He whispered to himself in surprise. Chapter 2 The Trial of Entering the World for the First Time. Guojing, the character of this character is simple and sincere, but Shen Mohan injects it into it as a modern soul, but he is a little more rational and keen. Instead of being as dull as in the original book, he began to try to change his destiny. Just learned to use a bow and arrow, he used the resource system of Infinite Film and Television World to try to recycle the surrounding resources in exchange for new skill points. Resource recovery, free trade. He whispered the strange slogan, and suddenly found that he could transform the branches and stones around him into skill materials and use these materials to improve his archery. The rivers and lakes are so big that they hide all kinds of bizarre existences. That night, Guojing encountered a group of black-clad assassins outside Xiangyang City, who turned out to be not ordinary people, but NPC rebels in the game, who brought unimaginable skills and bizarre spells. Guojing held a bow in both hands and thought to himself, since this is the game world, I want to not only live, but also become the strongest one. He shot the assassin's throat with precise archery, which was judged to be a perfect kill in the game engine, and the system jumped out, get a rare skill, marksman's eyes. Chapter 3 The Mysterious Light and Shadow Organization. Just as Guojing was gradually becoming familiar with the rules of this world, a secret group calling itself the Light and Shadow Organization extended an invitation to him. Would you like to join us and control the fate of this infinite film and television world together? The leader of the organization, a mysterious woman named Xing Yuan, said. Xing Yuan was wearing silver armor, his eyes shining like stars in the night sky, and his body was as light as a phantom. Guojing had never seen such a surreal existence, and he was both curious and wary. What the hell are you? What is the truth of this world? He asked. Xing Yuan smiled, this is not only the film and television world, but also the projection of the infinite world. Resource reclamation is not only a game, but also our last line of defense against foreign invaders. You and I are both light and shadow warriors, and our mission is to protect this realm where the virtual and the real intertwine. Chapter 4 Film and Television Wars, Heroes Assemble. With joining the Light and Shadow Organization, Guojing saw more wonders beyond common sense. Heroes from different film and television eras, such as the medieval archer Eric, the mechanical warrior Lena of the futuristic city, and Conan, the inventor of the steampunk world, have appeared. They were supposed to live in their respective storylines, but unknown forces pulled them into this intersecting world and became Light and Shadow warriors. The enemy, on the other hand, is a group of beings called chapter breakers. They can tear apart the coherence of the story, pull the characters away from the original plot, and form chaos and destruction. Guojing joined forces with heroes from all walks of life and participated in one bizarre battle after another. The once quiet rivers and lakes have become a battlefield where light and shadow are intertwined. Chapter 5 The Chapter of Love and Betrayal. In this cross-era war, the relationship between Guojing and Xing Yuan gradually heated up. She is not only the commander of the team, but also his spiritual pillar. However, fate played a trick, and when they were about to usher in a decisive victory, Xing Yuan betrayed the organization. I never lied to you. She said, with tears in her eyes, but I can't let this world be destroyed. I have my own plan. Xing Yuan's betrayal divided the light and shadow warriors, blurring the line between friend and foe. Guojing had mixed feelings in his heart, neither wanting to believe that she was an enemy, but also understanding that there was a deeper secret behind her decision. Chapter 6 The Choice of the Traverser. Guojing began to explore the truth behind Xing Yuan and gradually uncovered the foundation of this infinite film and television world. He found that he was not only a time traveler, but also a regulator of the game kernel, with the ability to modify the rules. This ability is a double-edged sword that can save the world or destroy it. In a great battle, he faces the dual threat of the chapter breaker and the light and shadow organization. He must make a choice, whether to become a god who controls the plot, or to leave behind his power and let the story develop naturally. Chapter 7 The final chapter of the film. In the end, Guojing chose to respect the essence of the story and give up interference. He released all the characters imprisoned in the world of film and television, allowing them to return to their own era and storyline. At the same time, he uses his body as a medium to turn into a light, turning the residual order of the world of light and shadow into a force of peace. Xing Yuan finally appeared on a border where light and shadow intertwined, and said to him with a smile, "You made the most difficult decision, this is the fate of a hero." The story is over. Shen Moen opens his eyes again and returns to the real world. He found that the red letters on the screen had disappeared and were replaced by a new line of words. It doesn't cost a penny to travel through life, life has just begun. He laughed. Chapter 8 The Crack of the Soul. Shen Moen returned to reality, but found that there were still traces of the world of light and shadow in his heart. He gradually found that he could unconsciously summon the marksman's eyes, and the scene in front of him seemed to be specially marked, and the details were extremely clear. One night, the computer screen lit up again, this time with no red letters or pop-up frames, replaced by an old parchment map marked with a location, the Rift in Shadows. Is this entrance to another world? Shen Moen fell into deep thought. At this moment, a low voice came from my ear, "Do you think this is the end?" This is just the beginning. The source of the sound is unknown, but it is familiar to him. Chapter 9 The Crack in the Shadow. Shen Moen decided to follow the map instructions and go to the Shadow Rift site marked on the map, an abandoned factory on the outskirts of his city. He passed through the dilapidated iron door and stepped into the depths of the empty factory. The air filled the air with the cold smell of metal. Suddenly, the space in front of him twisted into a black vortex and light and shadow spread like water waves. He mustered up the courage and stepped into the whirlpool. His eyes fell into rotation and chaos again, and this time, he came to a completely different world, a dimension called the Abyssal Spectrum. The sky here is an interweaving of blood red and purple and black, floating with strange crystals, while the ground is as transparent as glass, reflecting a bottomless void. "Welcome, regulator." A voice echoed in the air. Shen Moen turned around and faced a mysterious man wearing a black robe with his face covered by shadows. "I am the guardian of the Abyss Spectrum, Kayes, from another film and television universe. Chapter 10 The Multiverse of Film and Television. Kayes explained that the infinite film and television world is just one of multiple film and television universes, while the Abyssal Spectrum is another darker world, full of broken stories and undead characters. You have maintained order in the infinite world of film and television as a regulator, but that is not enough to stop the chaos of the multiverse. The cracks in the Abyss Spectrum are widening and will swallow up the balance of all film and television worlds. Shen Moen was surprised by this huge system, but he also felt a heavy responsibility on his shoulders. "What should I do?" he asked. "You must unite the heroes of each film and television universe to find out the root of the cracks and stop the spread of darkness," Kayes replied. Chapter 11 The Rebirth of League of Legends. Shen Moen returned to the world of infinite film and television. This time, he is no longer fighting alone, but forming a cross-universe film and television alliance. In addition to the original Guojing and Xing Yuan, the members also include Eric, Lena, Conan, and others. and more characters from different film and television works have joined one after another. Among them are the cyber ninja Swiftblade from the future world of technology, the electric dancer Kia with the electromagnetic force field, and the god of war Nafis from the mythological world of ancient Egypt. Each of them has unique abilities and story backgrounds, but together they face an enemy that transcends time and space. In the alliance, the interaction between the characters is full of tension and sparks. The collision of ideas between Xing Yuan and Swiftblade, and the cultural differences between Guojing and Nafi make this team both strong and diverse. Chapter 12 The Bizarre Battlefield. The Alliance began tracing the source of the rift spread and stepped into an area called Nightmare Junction. It combines the eerie atmosphere of horror movies, the otherworldly elements of fantasy adventures, and even the exaggerated colors of the animated world. They encounter countless grotesque enemies, including half-human, half-machine violent werewolves, magical divas who can sing and summon storms, and ghosts that can pass through time. During the battle, the Alliance members demonstrate their wonderful abilities and use each other's characteristics to break the enemy's tricks. In a key battle, Lena used a high-tech device to break the enemy's space-folding barrier, the Swiftblade raided from the shadows to cut off the enemy's control source, and Guojing settled the country with an arrow. Chapter 13 The Puzzle of the Mirror World. Tracing the depths of the rift, the Alliance discovers a mirror world, the distorted reflection of all figures, and the emotions and will are magnified. Here, everyone must face their own innermost fears and secrets. Guojing saw the shadow of his past, the guilt of not being able to protect his lover, and Xing Yuan faced the self she lost in betrayal. Lena's technological rationality encounters chaotic illusions from the depths of her mind, and Swiftblade is forced to confront the loneliness and anger of her childhood. This spiritual trial is not only a test for the hero, but also reveals the real driving force behind the crack, a Shadow Emperor who can control the fate of multiple film and television universes. Chapter 14 The Shadow Emperor's Conspiracy. The Shadow Emperor, named Thursday Roan, is a being whose soul has been consumed by a twisted story. He aspires to merge all the film and television universes into one and build his own absolute dynasty. To achieve his goal, he did not hesitate to tear apart the dimensional barrier, unleash the twisted dark power, and destroy the will of the heroes. Thurin's power was strong enough to rewrite the rules, and even Shen Mohan's ability to adjust was limited. The alliance was in a tough fight. Chapter 15 The Final Battle of Light and Shadow. Facing the Shadow Emperor, the heroes decided to use each other's beliefs as weapons to condense the heart of light and shadow, a pure force that transcends strength and technology. Guojing drew his longbow and shot an arrow stained with light and shadow, piercing Thurin's shield. Xing Yuan sacrificed his own life to awaken the lost power of light and shadow. Lena, Swiftblade, and Nafi worked together to unleash technology and magic to seal the darkness back into the rift. In the final moments, Shen Mohan used all his adjuster abilities to repair the cracks in the multiverse. Chapter 16 The Dawn of a New World. The Shadow Emperor was sealed, and the crack gradually healed. The multiple film and television universes have regained balance, but they have also left traces of interconnection. The heroes each returned to their own world, but the memory of fighting together was always engraved in their hearts. Shen Mohan returned to the real world again, this time his computer screen showed. The game is complete, the real adventure, and so on. He knew that in the future, there would no longer be a clear boundary between light and shadow and reality. Chapter 17 The Birth of a New Order. After the crack was repaired, Shen Mohan found that he had not completely left the intertwined universe of light and shadow. He realized that the walls between multiple film and television universes had become weaker, and invisible channels had quietly opened. Therefore, he and heroes such as Xing Yuan and Guojing established the Shadow Alliance on the border between virtual and reality, an organization dedicated to maintaining a pluralistic world order. They transform the resources and experience gained from past battles into guardian forces, monitoring the stability of each world. This alliance is like the Night Watch of the New World, guarding the balance between the real and the unreal. underscore 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 un. Chapter 18 The Secret of the Lost City. One day, the Alliance receives a cryptic message suggesting that within the spectrum of the abyss lies a lost city that holds the ultimate artifact that can permanently lock the balance of the multiverse. Shenmue led an elite squad, including Lena, Swiftblade, and Nafee, into this mirrored city floating above the abyss. The city is filled with twisted fluctuations of time, and ancient runes glow with a dim light, hiding secrets from thousands of years. During their exploration, they encounter the city's guards, the Shadow Soul Core composed of the souls of countless lost characters. After going through the trial of life and death, the team finally found the artifact, an eternal mirror that reflects the truth of all the worlds. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 19 The Revelation of the Eternal Mirror. Through the Mirror of Eternity, Shenmue sees the true roots of the entire diverse film and television universe. The birth of all stories and characters stems from the resonance of human imagination. However, with the evolution of modern technology and entertainment forms, these resonances have been overconsumed and distorted, resulting in cracks and darkness. The mirror also reflects a mysterious future scene. When the virtual and reality are completely integrated, human beings will no longer be a single master, but a symbiotic existence with the story. This enlightened Shenmue and made the Alliance face a choice, whether to protect the current order or guide the world into a new era of dimensional integration. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 20 The Dreamweaver's Choice. Faced with the unknowns and pressures of the future, Shenmue began to reflect on his identity. He is no longer just a regulator, but more like a dreamweaver, carefully weaving bridges between diverse stories and reality. And Xin Yuan also admitted that the real reason for her betrayal was to promote the early arrival of this era of integration, even if it came at the cost of violent turmoil. The two had different opinions, and there were rifts within the alliance due to different philosophies. Finally, at a key meeting, they decided to take a gradual approach to protect the world as it is existing while preparing for the future. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 21 The Dawn of Integration. With the establishment of the new order, the barriers between the multiverses gradually dissolved. The film and television characters began to occasionally communicate across borders and share knowledge and strength without affecting the original story. Shenmue in the real world has also become stronger and more confident in the process, and he has learned to balance fantasy and reality to create more exciting stories. Finally, when a bright star-like dimensional aura slowly rises, it symbolizes the dawn of the era of fusion. Every corner of the multiverse has been given new life and hope because of this fantasy adventure. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 22 The Eternal Legend. A few years later, Shenmue has become a well-known cross-border storyteller and guardian of the film industry. He wrote the final chapter of Infinite Film and Television World and recorded the story in the Eternal Library, a virtual bookstore that exists in all dimensions. Stories are no longer just entertainment, but bridges between humans and cosmic souls. Xin Yuan and Guojing also returned to their own time and space, but they often met Shenmue in their dreams and continued that deep bond. This legend tells us that no matter how the world changes, courage, faith, and love will always be the eternal power that travels through light and shadow. Underscore 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 un. Postscript: Stories outside the story. When you read this, you may ask, is this really an ending? Or the beginning of another adventure? In fact, the end of every story contains infinite possibilities. Shenmue's journey is the epitome of all dreamers. He shuttles between light and shadow, lighting a path to the unknown not only for himself, but also for everyone who believes in the power of stories. Maybe you are sitting in front of the computer at the moment, waiting for the next red pop-up box, ready to step into your infinite film and television world. Remember, crossing costs a penny, and the adventure never ends.